You ever felt like the market just laughs at you? Like no matter how much you prepare, something sneaky drags your trades down? Maybe you've had this gut-wrenching moment where you thought, this is it. I'm finally getting it, only for a single move to wipe away your gains, leaving more questions than answers. What if the real secret isn't about finding the perfect setup or the most magical indicator? What if it's about something deeper, something that gets inside your head and controls whether you win or lose even before the market moves? Today, you're about to discover the 12 risk management rules that Mark Douglas, the trading psychologist who changed the way traders think about the market, swore by to stay sane and profitable. These aren't just rules. They're lifelines. Rules designed not just to save your money but to save your mind. I promise that by the time you hear these rules, you'll begin to see your trading in a new light, a light that reveals not just the trades but the battles in your mind, where the real risks hide. Ready to challenge what you think about risk? Ready to dig under the surface and confront the uncomfortable truths that every trader benches out with? Then let's dive in. Imagine standing on the edge of a high diving board. You watch others jump. Some land perfectly, others belly flop. You want to dive too, but your heart races. That fear in your chest? It's the same fear that sneaks into your trading decisions. Mark Douglas says, managing risk is like managing that fear. But here's the kicker. Most traders think risk management is just about cutting losers short and letting winners run. That's like trying to dive safely just by hoping the water is deep enough. It's not enough. Risk management starts in your head. Let's kick off with the first rule, because it cracks open the whole way you think about risk. Rule number 1 says, risk is not the possibility of loss alone, but the combination of the possibility of loss and the response to that loss. Think about that. Risk isn't just losing money. It's losing money and how you feel and react when it happens. Ask yourself, how do I really react to losing? Do I panic, freeze, or chase after losses trying to win it back? Do these feelings control my next trade, or do I control them? Here's an example. Imagine you're sailing a boat and a storm hits. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you steer through it. Risk is that storm, but your reaction is how you keep your boat upright. Mark Douglas teaches us that controlling our response is sometimes more important than avoiding the loss itself. Because if your reaction is wild or emotional, you create a bigger storm for yourself. This leads into rule number 2. Only risk what you can afford to lose without changing your trading behavior. Now, most traders hate hearing this because it means accepting losses are part of the game. It's uncomfortable, right? No one wants to lose money. But if losing money makes you desperate, angry, or scared enough to break your rules, you're risking more than just money. You're risking your discipline and sanity. Ask yourself, do I trade with money that, if lost, would make me panic or jeopardize my life? Or am I trading with what's truly spare, funds that don't shake my world, no matter what happens? Mark's wisdom here is powerful. When you risk too much, the fear clogs your mind, fogs your judgment, and pushes you into impulsive decisions. Picture a tightrope walker carrying a heavy backpack across a wire. The heavier the load, the harder it is to balance. If you trade with too much at stake, it's like adding that backpack. Suddenly, staying balanced becomes next to impossible. This is where many traders fail, risk creep. They slowly increase risk chasing bigger wins, but forget what that load does to their mind. Rule number 3 tells us, risk must be defined before the trade begins. It can't be adjusted or redefined mid-trade. Ever been in a trade where the emotions take over and you find yourself saying, maybe I can just hold a little longer, or if I just add some more? That's the mind trying to convince you to ignore your own rules. Mark makes it clear, the risk you accept before entering a trade is a contract with yourself. Changing that contract on the fly is the fastest way to lose control and money. Think about this like a firefighter preparing for the rescue. They must know exactly what risks are acceptable before entering the burning building. Hesitating or changing decisions halfway could turn a rescue into disaster. The lesson? Know on the fly, risk changes. It's cold, clear, and decided up front. Now let's pause and ask, how often have you been your own worst enemy in a trade because you couldn't stick to your risk plan? Could that be the key to unlocking more consistent success? Before jumping in further, what questions are running through your mind? Could sticking to these risk rules help silence the emotional noise that sabotages your trades? If you want, I will continue with the next part, where the journey deepens and you'll discover more of Mark Douglas's life-saving risk management wisdom, because this is just the beginning. Would you like to hear more right now? You said yes, so let's go deeper. Remember the last time you felt crushed by a losing trade? Remember how that sinking feeling grabbed hold, making your hands sweat, your thoughts scatter, and your confidence vanish? What if you knew that feeling was not your enemy but your signal? Mark Douglas calls it your inner alarm system. It's not there to punish you but to alert you when your mind is starting to override your rules. The fourth rule is simple but powerful. Risk has an emotional cost that must be paid before any trade is taken. Sounds strange, right? How can an emotional cost be paid before you even hit buy or sell? Because every trade you take, you are deciding to accept uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear. The moment you accept that uncertainty before the trade, you prepare your mind for what might come. You build emotional armor. Think of it like renting a car. If you know beforehand the car might get a scratch, you're mentally ready and won't panic if it happens. But if you expect the car to come back flawless, every tiny mark will feel like disaster. Mark Douglas says the best traders mentally and emotionally pay that price up front. They are okay with losing because they've accepted risk as part of the path, not the enemy. Ask yourself, do you say to yourself before a trade, I'm ready to lose this and keep going, or do you silently hope everything goes perfectly? That mental readiness builds something magical. It reduces emotional swings, which is where many traders self-destruct. Moving on to rule number 5, this one might hit you hard. Losing is not a failure if the risk was controlled. So, if you risk a small, defined amount, and the trade loses, is that really losing? Mark says no. Losing big is failure. Losing small within your plan is just part of the process. It's like a gambler who bets their entire paycheck on one roll versus the one who bets a few coins but plays long. Who lasts longer? Who has a chance to become profitable? The one who respects limits. Here's a tough question. Are your losses random explosions, or are they part of a calculated game plan where each loss is expected and prepared for? Most traders don't have that mindset, and that's why one loss feels like a knockout punch. But Mark teaches us to think differently. Losses are just tuition to the market school. You don't want to pay too much or unexpectedly, but you will pay something. Rule number 6 ties right into that. Control risk, and the results will take care of themselves. Sounds simple, but it's revolutionary for anyone used to chasing every win. The truth? You don't control the market or where price goes. You control only how much risk you take for each trade. If you get that control, you're no longer a victim of the market or your emotions. You're the captain of your ship. Think about a chess player. They can't predict every move of their opponent, but they control their own pieces with discipline. Similarly, you can't control every candle on a chart, but you can control your exposure. This begs an important question. How well do you control risk in your trades right now? Do you know exactly how much you're risking before you enter, or do you just hope things work out? Let's add an analogy here. Imagine you're carrying a fragile vase across a busy street. You want to keep it safe, but the crowd is unpredictable. Your skill isn't in controlling the crowd but in holding the vase gently and protecting it. That's what risk control is, protecting what matters within chaos. Mark's 7th rule is the emotional firewall you need. Letting losses run can kill your account faster than letting winners run. If you're like most traders, you hold onto losers hoping they'll turn profitable. Sound familiar? It's like holding a snake because you think it'll turn into a dove. Here's a challenge. How long did you hold your last losing trade? Did you cut it fast enough? Mark warns, letting losses grow bigger than your predefined risk is the fastest way to destroy your trading account and confidence. Picture a fire in your kitchen. Letting a small flame burn out of control will ravage the whole house. The fire is loss, the house is your account. Cutting losses early isn't just a smart move, it's a survival skill. Now, rule number 8 teaches you how to think about size. Trade size is the most powerful tool for managing risk. This one can be a game changer. Risk isn't only about market moves but your position size. Bigger trades equal bigger stress and emotional swings. Think of this. Would you rather juggle one bowling ball or 10 tennis balls? The latter feels easier, right? Smaller size means smaller emotional load. Mark says that mastering position size means mastering your emotional state, which means mastering risk. Question: are you risking too much because you think bigger size equals bigger profits? Or have you ever tried reducing size to actually win more consistently? Before moving on, how do these ideas feel so far? Is your head spinning, or are you starting to see the hidden battles in your trading? The next part will take you into the final 4 rules, where Mark reveals deeper secrets about patience, mindset, and trust that hold the keys to mastering risk. Are you ready for more? Should we keep going? You want more? The toughest and most rewarding lessons come next. Up to now, you've learned that risk isn't just the chance of losing money, it's also how you prepare your mind and control your emotions. But what if risk management also means mastering time and patience? Mark Douglas's next rules dig into this hidden dimension. Rule number 9 says, patience and waiting for the right setup is the core of successful risk management. Let that sink in. Patience is not just a virtue, it's your best shield against unnecessary risk. Think about this. How often have you entered a trade just because you felt bored or needed to do something? How many times did the fear of missing out, FOMO, push you to jump in early or under less than ideal conditions? Mark tells us that the market rewards the patient trader because patience means you risk less by entering only when the odds are in your favor. Let me ask you, are you trading to survive or to chase the thrill? Are you patient or impulsive? Because those who rush often pay with bigger losses. Imagine waiting for a bus in the cold. You don't just jump on the first bus that comes by. You wait for the right bus that goes where you want, because jumping on the wrong bus risks time, safety, and frustration. Rule number 10 deepens this idea. You must accept that no trade is the perfect trade, and take trades that fit your definition of risk. We often dream of the perfect setup, a trade that feels like a sure winner. But Mark cautions that such perfection does not exist on the market. Imagine trying to catch a perfect wave surfing. Waiting for that perfect wave means sitting on the water forever, but paddling too early means falling off. Mark says you must define what good enough looks like for you and be willing to take those trades when they come. Otherwise, you're left waiting forever, risking missing real opportunities. Ask yourself, what is your definition of an acceptable trade risk? Have you set clear guidelines, or do you rely on gut feeling alone? Now, here's where the power of mindset explodes with rule number 11. Trust the process, not the outcome. This is a mind bender, I know. The market doesn't owe you anything. It doesn't guarantee every trade to be a winner, no matter how perfect it looks. Mark Douglas teaches us that the path to consistent profits is trusting your plan and your risk management, not the unpredictable results of each trade. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You can't control when each seed sprouts, but if you water and nurture them consistently, eventually, something grows. This is where many traders fall apart. They trust their hopes, their fears, or their bias to control the trade's outcome, not the process they know works. Challenge moment. Are you trusting your trading process deeply, or are you chasing results like a roller coaster rider? Finally, rule number 12 ties everything with the strongest thread: discipline. Discipline is doing what you said you would do no matter how you feel. This one echoes throughout trading rooms like a mantra and yet remains one of the hardest rules to master. Discipline means sticking to your risk rules even when fear, greed, or boredom scream at you to do otherwise. It means following your plan through losses and wins. Think about a soldier in battle who sticks to the mission no matter the chaos around. Trading demands the same unshakable discipline to manage risk. Ask yourself brutally, how strong is your discipline? Can you close a losing trade mid-fall? Can you skip a trade that looks tempting but breaks your rules? It's okay if that answer scares you. That, my friend, means you're ready to grow. Here's an analogy that captures the spirit. Managing risk without discipline is like trying to pilot a plane without controls. You might soar briefly on luck, but eventually, you crash. Now that you have walked through all 12 rules with me, what do you feel? Is your mindset shifting? Do some of your bad habits suddenly look clear in a new light? These 12 rules aren't just steps or tips. They are a path to becoming a professional, not just someone who trades but someone who masters trading psychology and risk. Before we wrap this part up, a quick challenge for you. Write down 3 ways you can start applying these rules today. Which one feels hardest? Which one feels like the key to your breakthrough? Next, we'll move into practical ways to put these rules into action every single day, and how to build routines that protect your mind as much as your money. Ready to continue and take it into the real world? Shall we move to part 4? You've now walked through the heart of Mark Douglas's 12 risk rules, the mindset shifts, the emotional armor, and discipline required. But knowing isn't enough. The real challenge is making these rules part of your daily trading life. Let's get practical. Rule number 13, a bonus for you: make risk management a habit, not a chore. What if every time you planned a trade, risk control became automatic? Like brushing your teeth or buckling a seatbelt. When risk management lives in your subconscious, your emotions have nowhere to sneak in uninvited. Habits guard your trading like a loyal protector. Ask, what daily habits do I have right now that guard me from emotional mistakes? How can I build new ones that protect my risk rules? One powerful way is journaling. Writing down your thoughts, emotions, and decisions after every trade can expose hidden patterns. Let me tell you, Mark believed that journaling wasn't just for record-keeping, it's a mirror to your psychological blind spots. Ask yourself, when was the last time I honestly wrote down what I was feeling before, during, and after a trade? What stories do those feelings tell? This leads us to risk-sized position sizing routines. Simple math like, I will risk only 1% on any trade, isn't just random, it's a shield against emotional overload. Ever held a trade that scared you because you risked too much? Imagine if you'd only risked 1%. Would your feelings have changed? Would your decisions have stayed clearer? Mark's rules come alive when you stick to simple, consistent formulas so your brain isn't busy guessing or hoping. Here's a question for you. Do you know your exact risk per trade every single time? Or is it guessing and hoping? Now, let's talk about the market's biggest trap, overtrading. Rule number 14, another practical addition: overtrading is a symptom of poor risk management and emotional imbalance. Have you ever felt the itch to trade again right after a loss or a win? Like you're chasing a feeling or trying to fix a mistake? Mark would say that itch comes from a mind that hasn't truly accepted risk and loses trust in its own process. The cure? Stick to your plan, take only trades that meet your risk criteria, and respect the time needed for the market to show opportunity. It's like trying to make a stew by dumping ingredients every 5 minutes. You lose control of the flavor and risk spoiling the whole pot. Now, let's talk about the ultimate emotional tool Mark always emphasized: breathing and mindfulness. Rule number 15, mental armor: manage your emotions in real time. Imagine a race car driver. When the engine roars and speeds climb, they don't panic, they breathe steadily and focus. In trading, your mind is the engine. When fear or greed tries to take over, a few slow breaths can reset the system. Have you ever sat back and just focused on your breath during a tense trade? Give it a try next time. Let's challenge your thinking again. What if emotional control was as important as your chart analysis? What if that was the secret weapon you've been missing? We're so close to the finish now. Here are the last few gems that will transform how you trade. Rule number 16. Accept that uncertainty is the only certainty. This sounds contradictory, but accept it. The market is unpredictable. You will never know what will happen next. Mark Douglas's wisdom shines here. Accepting uncertainty reduces emotional resistance and fear, allowing you to engage calmly. Pretend you're walking a tightrope in the dark, not knowing what's ahead. Fear paralyzes you, but if you accept the unknown, you focus on every step. In trading, embracing uncertainty lets you trade with confidence despite not knowing. Question: do you fight uncertainty or welcome it as part of your trading journey? Rule number 17. Prepare to lose many trades. It's the nature of the game. Nobody talks about losing enough. Mark Douglas was brutally honest. Losing trades come, but the winners must be stronger and bigger to cover losses. The difference? Risk control and psychological balance. This is a mindset shift. Is losing a sign of failure or a stepping stone? How easily do you get up after a loss? Let me ask, do you believe you can't lose, or do you believe you will lose and that's okay? Finally, rule number 18. Commit to a continuous process of self-improvement and reflection. Mark Douglas saw trading as a journey, with no perfect finish line, always a process to follow and improve. Are you reviewing your trades and emotions regularly? Or do you trade, forget, and repeat? Commit to learning from every trade, win or lose. That's the path to mastering risk. Before wrapping up this part, think of these steps. Build daily habits like journaling and breathing exercises. Define your risk per trade clearly. Respect patience and avoid overtrading. Accept uncertainty and losses with emotional balance. How does it feel to have a roadmap for your mind and money? Next, we'll pull all this together to craft your personal risk management plan, one you can actually stick to and trust. Shall we move to the last part? You've journeyed far through Mark Douglas's rules. Not just rules, but a mindset shift that can transform your trading life. Now let's put it all together. Building your personal risk management plan isn't about memorizing lines. It's about owning the process, building trust with yourself, and protecting your most valuable asset, your mind. Start with this simple framework. First, define your maximum risk per trade. Is it 1%, 2%, or whatever feels safe to you? Remember, this isn't a random guess. It's what your emotions can handle without chaos. No matter what, never risk more until your mind is ready. Next, write down your entry and exit rules before you trade. Set your stop loss at a point where your risk matches your plan. Mark Douglas said, if you can't accept the risk before you enter, you shouldn't enter the trade. Hold that close. After the trade, record what happened, not just price and P/L but how you felt. Did fear creep in? Did greed try to push you to add size? Did impatience try to take over? Your journal is your compass. It points out where you break your rules and where you shine. Regularly review your trades weekly or monthly. Look for patterns in your mistakes and wins. This self-awareness is your inner radar. Remember, Mark Douglas taught us that the biggest risk is not managing your mind. Ask yourself, am I sticking to my risk limits or bending them mid-trade? Do I trade with money I can truly afford to lose? Am I patient enough to wait for the right setups? Do I trust my process even when trades lose? Taking honest answers seriously will put you on the path to sustained profitability. Here's a final analogy to carry forward: the trader's balance beam. Trading isn't a sprint, it's a tightrope walk where your balance is fragile. Every rule, every habit, every breath builds that balance. Risk management is the guardrail that stops you from falling off. Without it, a tiny misstep feels catastrophic. With it, uncertainty becomes manageable, fear becomes a guide rather than a prison, and losses become lessons, not failures. Let me challenge you one last time. Are you ready to build your trading life on solid psychological foundations, or will you keep chasing shortcuts? If you are ready, start today. Write down your risk rules, commit to your plan, and build your mental armor every single day. For those who want to master their trading mind and risk, this is the beginning of a lifelong transformation. If this video helped you see risk in a new way, smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more trading psychology wisdom straight to your notifications. Remember, the market doesn't owe you success, but your mind can create it when you manage risk the Mark Douglas way. Keep trading smart, stay patient, and protect your mind. See you next time.